Welcome to the WellPlayed DLC podcast, Australia's juiciest and, as of today, earliest podcast. My name is Adam Ryan. I'm your host for this week. I'm joined by the wonderful Ash Whaling.
Howdy, everybody.
The equally wonderful Kieron Bruges is here as well.
Hello.
That was good. It was
two
close.
Morning, boys.
I know. You're right. It is the early podcast. Usually this is a late evening thing. Thanks to my unchanging lighting in my room, it looks like it's the same time as every other podcast.
I was going to say, it makes absolutely no difference because it's not like we do a live podcast.
Absolutely.
Like two that we have done in the past. But maybe the energy levels will be different. I'm full of rice and eggs from breakfast. So maybe Maybe I'll have a little bit more piss and vinegar in me today. Who knows?
They put piss and vinegar in your eggs?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a better pairing than you'd think. It doesn't just make for a good saying. Ash, how are you this fine morning? How's your week been? How are you doing for the first couple hours of your day?
My week has been brutal, but that's mostly on account of the game I've been playing. But if we get to do the morning chat, sure, you've had piss and vinegar eggs. I had crumpets.
Love a crumpet.
Love a good crumpet. I mean, people with that hole phobia don't like them very much, and I can sort of see why. Was it trypophobia? But yeah, lots of little holes. But that's where the butter goes. You know, that's where the good stuff goes. The crumpet's trying to hold all the good stuff for you. It's nice.
Yeah, it's just being a G. Kieron, A, what did you have for breakfast? And B, how are you?
I'll start with B. I'm good, thank you. As for breakfast, I had a couple of hash browns, and I'm working on this iced coffee.
Hell yeah. That's definitely better than piss and or vinegar. So you boys are doing well. Tell you what, though, we can't.
4 mentions of piss and vinegar, and we're barely 2 minutes in. Great.
That's what happens at 10 a.m.
You love to see it. At least we know what the energy is.
The piss and
now.
vinegar hour.
Look, we can't talk about piss, vinegar, and what we had for breakfast because we've got lots to talk about. It's a big podcast, so we'll get into it. Ash is going to be talking about Doom: The Dark Ages. He's ready and raring to go. Kieran's had his grubby little mitts on the Switch 2, and we should probably talk about GTA 6 realistically because, it's apparently a big deal. But before we get busting into those topics, Ash, outside of Doom: The Dark Ages, because we'll hear from you about that in a minute, is there anything else that you've been playing recently that you wanted to shout out?
I mean, honestly, I have been really caught up with the Doom stuff, but I did just randomly install Monster Hunter Stories for the sake of my daughter wanting to watch me play a Monster Hunter game, and I thought that would be the more age-appropriate one, and yeah, it is. Like it's the obviously the game came out on 3DS. This is the re-release that's like fully voice acted and stuff that came out on like Steam and stuff. But it was there was like a sale on PlayStation. It was like down to like $14 or something. I was like, yeah, sure.
Hell yeah.
Why not?
Interesting. Not where I thought you were going to go with that. Because usually you use your daughter as a platform to play like Hello Kitty games and shit. And this one's a little bit more acceptable for a grown adult to play. So I don't know. Wow.
Are you gatekeeping me? Am I not allowed to play these?
You did that. You did that yourself by using your daughter as a smokescreen, mate. You did that yourself. But look, fair. Doom's a big chunky game. I can see a Monster Hunter Stories being a nice little palate cleanser.
Can't play Doom in front of your 6-year-old. I mean, you can. You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah, a bit of a moral quandary there. Speaking of moral quandaries, Kieron, what have you been playing this week? My segues are all over the fucking shop. I'm sorry.
I've been dabbling in a few things. I did recently review Revenge of the Savage Planet. The review is up on the website. You can read it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It's very cool. Adam, I know you've played a little bit of it, and we both played the original.
Yes.
It's a good little improvement on the like exploratory collectathon sort of 3D Metroidvania feel of the first one. The switch to third person is like a good move, which I wasn't sure about at first, but
cool. Like
the personality and everything that comes through in the animations actually makes such a difference. And the satire is really well placed and well timed because the first game was very like it's mega corporations and they don't care about their workers, and that was like fine but done a lot by that point already, and even more so now. But this one, they lean heavily into like acquisitions. Like that mega corporation got acquired by another one, and these guys are even worse. And like that just feels very timely in a video game, and you can feel the catharsis from like the studio in like the way they present it. It's very.
It's
cool.
so terrible that it's so dystopian, but it's really relatable in today's environment. It's
right.
like, ugh.
Oh yeah, the dystopia.
Single tear runs down your cheek. So relatable.
Particularly for this studio as well. Raccoon Logic have had a bumpy time with being acquired.
Really?
And yeah, they got turned into a Stadia studio for a brief minute. And they had... Journey to the Savage Planet wasn't their IP for a little while, and then they reacquired it, and then they turned into a new studio. So it's kind of... Like, I love seeing that this game actually exists and this studio still exists, because it's kind of a minor miracle that they were able to pull that back. So the fact that it exists in the first place is great. Like KV said, the game's also a lot of fun, and I think it's great that they managed to reacquire their IP.
So it's genuinely a bit of catharsis for the studio.
Like genuine, yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's cool. Good for them. That's a great outlet.
Yeah, love to see it.
Yeah. Other than that, still working my way through Claire Obscure, playing a bit of Peglin. I don't know if either of you have heard of Peglin, but it's...
Don't the kids call it Peggle?
I call it pegging, but no, it's Peggle or like Pachinko meets like a roguelike, like RPG, like turn-based. Yeah, it's cool.
Those are some words. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's got heaps of little guys and lots of ball puns. So yeah,
game of the year. Love a good ball pun.
Sign us up.
So was the working title for this podcast Piss, Vinegar, and Pegging now? Or... Right, good.
And it came about so naturally, so I mean, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth, do you?
Adam, what have you been playing?
I've been playing mainly a game for review that we'll probably talk about next week. Outside of that, Key and I are back into Blueprints. I've unlocked a permanent unlock now, which has completely changed my perception of how I'm going to finish the game. Like, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, shit is just achievable. Like, I can actually... of sorts.
Right, of sorts. Okay.
It's hard to say without doing the spoiler thing, but I also interacted with the room in a different way during one of my recent runs that I didn't think was possible, and it had a whole bunch of secrets in it, and the game is just outrageously good. Like, it hurts me that it'll eventually end because I don't want it to.
Right.
And I've also been playing a little bit of the Alan Wake remaster because I never actually I did the whole YouTube story gist of it because it's an old game. Like, it definitely has aged, but it's like playing it. It's just an action shooter with some little horror elements instead of Alan Wake 2 being a straight up survival horror experience. So it's cool that I'm just getting a completely different genre out of going back to the first one. So I'm enjoying that too.
I mean, the OG Alan Wake was an Xbox 360 title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's that era of games was sort of... They all sort of had a similar set of DNA because there was an expectation from the market and yada yada. It was still cool, but like... If you were to tell me that you were playing a game on the Xbox 360 and it was a third-person shooter, I'd be like, which fucking one? There's hundreds.
I also
there's a flashlight. That doesn't narrow it down.
The tone I thought was going to be at least similar, but the Alan Wake, like the first one opens and it's just like shit is happening everywhere, and I was just not expecting that at all. But yeah, look, I'll keep plugging away. It's not like the game's going to surprise me. I already know all the story beats and whatnot, but it'll be a fun one for the Steam Deck just to kind of whip out every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
But enough of the preamble. Ash Whaling, you have been ripping, tearing, and also playing Doom the Dark Ages, I hear. So tell us a little bit about the game, please. I'm begging you.
Love the segue. So Doom the Dark Ages, the actual review period happened. It was great, so I've got to jump into the game. And let's just lead with the main thing. You get to bash stuff. You get to monster mash things. You get to punch. You get to slam. And most importantly, you get to cut. So... For the people who have lived under a rock and do not have any idea what the third modern Doom game is, Doom: The Dark Ages is a first-person shooter set in the Doom universe, but in the past, hence why it's The Dark Ages. And the big twist in this one is that you have a shield that is also a circular saw. And it is
Hell
good.
yeah.
It is very, very fun. So, yeah, so, I mean, it's a tight 16, 17-hour experience. I really enjoyed it. It's what you'd expect from a Doom game. There's a lot of ripping and tearing of demons. But I think the thing that surprised me was that it's another sort of reinvention of what, I guess, id Software wants to do with Doom, which is quite funny. Like, Doom 2016 came out. It was a great shooter. It sort of introduced people to the concept of glory kills and made it like a really sort of, center point of how the gameplay works. That like, hey, you rip someone apart, you get ammo, you get health, you get armor, that kind of stuff. Doom Eternal came out and was like, hey, here's a bunch of tweaks to that where like, you're in the air more and you can dash and you should swap between your weapons and stuff. And again, that vibed with some people it vibed with less. And you're sort of used to games having iterative sequels where it's like, oh, this is the last game, but, better. Or this is the last game, but developed in a, new way. Oh, that's cool. But id Software's like, nah, this is the third game and it's going to be different in a big way. So there's no dash. It's not there. It's gone. Quick swapping? Nah, don't need to do it. I mean, you can swap between your weapons, but there's not any motivation to do it. Like, you don't, like, you might want to shoot a guy with a specific gun because you can, but it's not like Doom Eternal where it's, like, legitimately, like, gun. Don't need to do that. Like, I replayed levels just to use the one gun in whatever way I could to sort of learn how it works, as opposed to this is the situation where I need to use this gun for this reason. Which I don't vibe with that, but yeah. And so it means that they sort of lean heavily into the newer mechanics which actually redefine the experience, and that is the idea that, like, melee isn't just like a finishing move or like, I've got no other button to press maneuver thing anymore, and the shield. So they're probably the things I'd like to talk about because they are sort of the defining points of it. There are other things that I'll mention briefly, but let's just get this out of the way. Melee in the game is like a proper system in the sense that, like, you have charges, you have opportunities for it, there's like pickups that quickly recharge your melee, and then there's unique melee weapons. This is what surprised me. Like, all the marketing showed me, like, Doomslayer punching dudes or like smashing them with a massive flail. And I thought, oh yeah, the punch is probably like a quick attack, or maybe that's what you do in the game before you get the flail. But there's actually a little bit more. There's actually 3 defined weapons, and each one of them has like a unique niche, which is kind of cool. And you can choose which one you want to use whenever you do a loadout. So, like, the punch is quick. You can have up to 4 punches with it. You can do like a 4-hit combo, which when you're, fighting a dude with guns for arms and a tummy the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, like, drumming the piss out of that thing with your massive spiked gauntlets is just, it's like speed bagging him. It's actually really funny. And then you get the flail, and the flail sort of has like a longer reach to it. You only get 3 charges, but like you can upgrade it that it's on fire. And when you slam somebody, they catch on fire. And if they die while they're on fire, they like explode like a pinata into ammo pickups. It's like,
Of course.
and then you get this last thing, this massive sort of scepter made out of like bone, the Abyssal Scepter, I'm pretty sure it's called.
Jesus.
It has 1 charge, and it refills its bar so slowly because it's basically, it's like the BFG of fists. It hits once, it hits hard,
Jeez.
and if the enemy survived, that you sort of go, ooh, like, I didn't pulp that guy. Shit. Uh-oh. So melee has a proper point to it, and like, there's still like, the game moves sort of away from glory kills in the sense that, like, it's not every 2 seconds you're going through some crazy bespoke animation of like, ripping a guy's spine out through his rectum. Those things are still in the game, but they're downplayed because I think they wanted to make it that the gameplay sort of has less punctuation in it. Like, it was good in other games, but like, to further develop those systems, they're sort of just gonna have to come up with more flashy animations, have them happen more often. I think that becomes a bit jarring. So like, you still, you can enter demons into a stagger state, and you can execute them, and it doesn't use a melee charge, for example. It's just press E to murder this guy, and like, there's special animations, but it's not about like, jumping from zombie to zombie eviscerating them. This all then gets sort of developed further with the use of the shield, which, if you've seen the marketing, you've seen it. It's a big green serving platter with a circular saw set of blades around the outside of it. And, I could end the explanation there and people are already going to walk away going, yeah, that's cool. But, in the actual game, it's a really cool mechanic because it introduces the concept of parrying to Doom. Which, some people might go, oh, I don't like that idea. But the way it actually works is that they sort of define, there are specific demonic energy attacks in the game, and they're telegraphed with green swirlies, green energy, green projectiles. Basically, see green, react to green. You can block regular attacks, and it reduces the damage you take. Cool. But if you block a green attack during, a parry window, if it's a projectile, you'll actually bounce it back at an enemy. And if it's a melee attack, you'll actually sort of stagger them. So if some massive, Doom Prince is leaping through the air with this big sort of two-handed Hulk smash coming at you, right before he hits the ground, you bat him away. And it's the dude hits the ground and has this massive stagger of oh! How dare you? And then you can follow it up by, either shooting the piss out of him or, smashing him with your melee weapon. You take that set of mechanics, put yourself in a room with, 30 different demons of all different types, range ones, melee ones that duck in and out of cover, ones that fly, ones that become incorporeal and you can't shoot them. And it just means that every second you're sort of thinking, who do I shoot? Who do I parry? Who do I block? And it becomes really fun because you've sort of got this it's a pretty small set of tools of what you can do. There's half a dozen things you could do at any given moment, but you choose how you apply each one of them, and it feels awesome. A lot of people say that it's a slower sort of combat compared to Doom Eternal. I'm not quite vibing with that definition. I think it's more grounded because they're spending less time in the air. I think you can still get really breakneck. And one of the coolest things about the game is it actually has a game speed slider.
Ooh, we like that.
And I played through the game at 100%, and it felt pretty good. And then when I went back to start, exploring for secrets, I moved it up to 120%, and it's awesome because parry windows become shorter, and things are shooting more, moving more because it's sped up. So it depends on how you feel about shooters. Do you want to be going at breakneck speeds? Do you want to be do you want enemies to be going at breakneck speeds? But I don't think it's a slower game. I think it's a more grounded game. You're not flying through the air and leaping up on things and, finding a jump pad or finding a vaulting, those gymnast bars that they had in Doom Eternal. You can still rocket around because the other thing you do with the shield is when you're blocking, if you left click with it, you Captain America charge into whatever you're aiming at. So, that same dude with the massive belly, just use it as a landing pad.
Nice.
And so that's the core experience. The core experience doing the Dark Ages, very cool because it's more than just shooting. The shooting still rules, but you get to mix and match it between blocking, attacking, rebuking, deflecting, and just generally feeling like a brick shithouse that gets to plant your feet and say, "Come at me, bro."
Love that. I love that it's more grounded. I'm one of the folks that didn't vibe so much with Eternal because it was just too much. I think it was one or five mechanics too many.
Yeah.
The way that you describe the parrying and dodging of projectiles kind of sounds a bit like a bullet hell situation. Does it ever get close to that? Is it going to be screen filled with different colored projectiles, or is it a little bit more muted than that?
See, I felt the same way that when I saw some of the I did the preview event and I saw some of the initial marketing and I was like, hey, there's a lot of projectiles and they are moving quite slowly. It doesn't quite go full bullet hell, which I mean, it's a Doom game and there's demons. It feels like a missed opportunity, but there are a lot more moving things on screen, but there's never I don't know. It doesn't make a habit of going, here's 80 things, haha, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
There's sort of moments, some enemies have unique attacks where it's hey, we're going to force you to get out of the way here, because there'll be 6 rows of things coming towards you. And do you dodge between the ones that you're sort of closest to, or do you quickly get across to the ones that are green and deflect them?
Yeah, okay.
I will say that there are portions that sort of approach a bullet hell thing, but they're siloed experiences where that's sort of the point. It's like, hey, this is a unique encounter. I can tell because, holy shit, there's stuff going on that doesn't usually happen. Which I think is probably good. I think if they went full down the route of bullet hell, it might have been sort of a step too far for your generic, in the moment sort of thing. But like the times that they do it, you go, hey, this is kind of cool and it actually works. So I won't go into detail on what those encounters are, but I think you can sort of, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh.
Yeah, I get you. I have one other quick question, and it might be something that you're leading to. Anywho, but part of the marketing cycle has also kind of centered around the fact that you can ride a cyber dragon and that you can also pilot a big fuck off mech. Now, I'm gathering they're kind of set pieces that kind of break up chapters, or it feels like that's kind of what it would... It's not going to just be like, R1, R2, L1, R2, all of a sudden you're in a fucking mech. But, like, are they... Because I'd imagine they're a bit more scripted, is it still Doom, or is it just kind of like a shooting gallery? What are we expecting with those?
So, the new gameplay mechanic sections... So, you're right, there is the cyber dragon, and the massive Atlan mech. And you're right, it's not like, Spartan Rage. Click in both your sticks to become the Atlan Mega Mech. It's not like that. There's narrative moments that call for this kind of thing to happen, and they are sort of carefully allocated in the game's story as sort of a way of breaking up, like, hey, you've done quite a bit of on-foot shield bashing. Let's break it up with, like, an Atlan section. And they sort of happen in really bespoke levels that are based around the narrative. And, like, for example, the Atlan... it's sort of a bit of a slower experience, and you don't have your shield, obviously, because you're in this massive thing, but, like, you get to fight against other demons that are the size of buildings. And so it has a unique set of mechanics based around sort of, Megazord punching the massive, fleshy bad guy until you can do, like, a big finishing move on them.
Yeah.
And, it's always a case of, like, take a break from smashing demons and smash demons in a different way. And it's like, oh, cool, this is fun. It happens like 3 times in the story, and each one's really, really cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the dragon sections are a little bit different in the sense that they still have standard Doom gameplay in those sections. So, like, the dragon obviously has its own unique set of mechanics for moving and shooting and all the rest of it, which is quite cool. It has, like, it deploys into the special assault mode where you hover to shoot things, which I don't know if you've played flying games where you shoot stuff. If you're moving at speed, you end up in this silly thing where you sort of fly past the thing and you have to double back and you miss it and you feel like a complete tosser. But when you deploy into the hovering mode, hey, you can sort of stop moving, shoot the thing, dodge out of the way of stuff, and then get back to zooming. But the cool thing is that throughout these massive levels, there are portions where it's like, you've cleared the landing pad. Do you want to land? And it's like, hell yeah. And you push the button, your dragon crashes down, and the Slayer just jumps off and it's back to regular Doom for a spell.
That's cool.
You go...
Right.
It's nice, and the cool thing is that, like, they could have been really hyper specific with how those situations happen, but, like, the thing that shocked me is that, like, there's lots of extra places that you could land that serve no other purpose than just exploration and secrets, which shocked me. I was like, I played one of the dragon levels at the preview event, and I sort of walked away from it going, it's okay. But when you actually spend a bit of time and you don't have, a time limit to play through it. You actually realize that there's like a ton of design that goes into making the level full of explorative places to go on the back of a dragon with laser wings. And that makes it super cool. You're like, oh, hey, there's actually a ton of stuff that I miss. And there's also levels where, like, you'll be fighting your way through stuff, doing regular Doom stuff, and then it's like, you reach a point where it's like, better jump on your dragon. You're like, oh, neat.
Nice.
And that was super cool.
Say you're someone who just wants to Doom. You're playing Doom to Doom. You want a Doom guy doing the Doom things. How long are these set pieces, like the Atlan Mech and the Cyber Dragon? Is it something like, if you're not really vibing with them, you could just blast through them and it's only a couple minutes, or is it kind of more of an extended... Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, so the Atlan Mech they're shorter sections. And I think it's because even the developers were like, this is fun, but it gets old after, like, pretty quickly. Because, like the Atlan Mech, it's literally Pacific Rim mode. Like,
Yeah.
punch the thing with your bus-sized fist. And it's like, okay, you've done that, like, 30 times. Let's move on. It's like, okay, that's fine. The dragon ones, if you don't vibe with the dragon thing, this, it's reasonably quick just to smash through like the key objectives. If you don't want to do all the flying, like there's like a dogfight thing where it's like, hey, if you shoot down enemy ships, you're going to get extra bonus stuff for leveling up your guns. And if you don't want to do that, it's fine. There's other places to get that material. But if you just sort of go bang, 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 get through those things, you spend most of that dragon level boots on the ground. So if you don't like it, that's cool.
Cool. Yeah, we like it.
Like I said, they felt like palate cleansers to me. Like they were good. They were well made. There's lots of games that sort of randomly change like their genre or their control scheme for the sake of, let's shake things up a bit. And sometimes those things miss the mark. But in Doom's case, I was like, no, this is well fleshed out. I don't mind it. I wouldn't play a full game that was dedicated to those sections.
Fair.
But
yep.
It works here. Yes, KV, hand up, long-time listener. Beautiful man.
Just on the topic of level designs and stuff, when you are boots on the ground, a lot of the marketing that I've seen so far has sort of shown off these big levels, these big open expanses. Is all of it like that, or are there more intimate sequences as well?
Yeah, so the ones that you're probably thinking of, they get referred to in the game as battlefields.
Right.
That's also sort of a bit of a shift to the formula. So when you think of Doom, you think of like, going down curated corridors, shooting stuff, and every now and then there's a bigger room and there's a bigger dude, and then you go down another corridor, and that's fine. That's cool. That's great for gunplay. And you can still get that experience here. But every now and then they do mix it up with these battlefields where what happens is you sort of step out into this much bigger space, and it'll say like, hey, here's 3 objectives you need to do. We're not fussy about what order you do them in. And it's like, oh, okay. And, like, the thing I love about modern Doom is you're familiar with automap. Have you guys seen that in the game at all? Like, a really, really fleshed out, awesome map system. You bring up the map at any time. There's like a fog of war. It'll show you sort of where you're going, where you've been, all the geometry. And the other cool thing is that there's a button to ping where your objectives are. So if you ever get lost, push a button. It'll be like, hey, this way or that way. But the battlefield sections, they just sort of just go, hey, let's just open things up a bit. Let's have like sort of bigger encounter areas. Like, you might crest a hill and legitimately see like a massive force of demons sort of milling about in the corner. And in that moment, like if it was the corridor-based Doom, that door's open. They've seen you. You're fighting.
Yeah.
In the battlefields, you sort of crest a hill, look down and go, ooh, wow, that looks like some serious stuff going on over there. I don't want to do that just yet because I can see that there's like, a shrine or a collectible or a goodie in that direction. I want to figure out how to get that first. And then, for my dessert, I'm going to go and punch that cyber demon in the balls. It's
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and like the spaces are really well designed. One of the things I love about the game, it's similar to the previous ones, it's just the level design's really clever to make sure that spaces feel like worthwhile and fun to explore. So often you'll be like progressing through a level and you'll realize that the path you're taking is actually snaking around somewhere you've already been. Like you'll be running parallel to like where you started the map, and you can like look through like, windows or like barred doors and be like, hey, that's where I started. And then you keep going. Or like, there'll be a section where it's like a bit where you need to sort of jump and traverse in the air, and you look down and you'll be like, hey, that's where I was 10 minutes ago. And then you bring up the auto map and you're like, I've been moving around for ages, but the map's actually quite compact. It's just been really cleverly navigated to make sure that like all the spaces feel fun, but they are all converging in the same realistic area. And it's great.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Oh, man. This very much is sounding like a Doom that I would much prefer to play over Eternal. My last question, because I know we could probably talk about it for a long time. And it's not, it's not been... It will be for some, but it's not been Doom's primary selling point. But the story, I know that Eternal got absolutely batshit crazy, and if you played the DLC, there's like you end up punching Lucifer or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I've heard rumblings that maybe it's a little bit more worth paying attention to in the Dark Ages. Did you have that experience, or is it another one that's just kind of, click through, I'm about to rip the demon's head off, move to the next thing?
I mean, the story in Doom the Dark Ages, they've taken a much greater, sort of, I guess, strategy to make sure that the story's presented in a way that's not super obtrusive, but also sort of makes sense in regards to how it relates to the Demon Slayer and what you're doing. Like Doom 2016, the whole game was first person. It meant that every story thing that happened had to happen in first person. It meant that you had to be in the room with the character and they talk at you. Then Doom Eternal sort of pulled the camera back a bit. There's a bit of third person sections happen. Doom the Dark Ages, the story, they just deliver it in a completely normal way. Like they just go, meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom, and fucking Doomslayer's not there. He's like somewhere else entirely, but it's like, the evil guy is discussing his plan. And I need to clarify, it doesn't happen like that. I'm just putting on a voice. It's not that campy, but like
Disappointing.
I know, I'm sorry, but I don't want to set up expectations just to ruin them. But like they will legit be like, meanwhile somewhere else this is happening, and then that'll sort of come to affect where you are. The story is like pure 90s pulp. It's just silly but awesome. It's not groundbreaking, but like it's all very carefully designed to tell a story that's pretty cool. Like from a Doom perspective, this is good stuff, but like you can tell it's cleverly narrated to be like the next story beat has to have something epic for you to do or interact with or to see, and that makes it great. Because it's a prequel, you also sort of get to see a couple of like little sort of like it's not the birth of the Doomslayer. I think I can say that without worrying about people. Like, it's a prequel, but it's not like, how did he get started? It's not Doomslayer Year 1. But you do get to see a much different relationship between the Doomslayer and a lot of the major forces within the Doom universe. And, I mean, there's going to be people who will probably sit down, like, there's YouTube compilations, which is just like, game, full story, all cutscenes, 4K, Super HD. I reckon there's people that are going to sit down, they're going to watch that, and then go, oh shit, I kind of really wish I'd play the game now.
Yeah,
it's like, some of the stuff that happens and the stuff that, like, the way characters turn up and the way things eventuate, they probably went, that would have been much more fun if I was interacting with it, I reckon.
Love it. And I'm glad that we're leaving room for Doom Origins, because Doom hasn't done an Origins yet, and everyone else has. So. I'm glad that they've left runway for that. Ash, it sounds like you're fairly glowing on Doom the Dark Ages. If you had to put a number on it, and I'm going to force you, I know that's something we don't usually do here. Out of 10, mate, what are we looking?
I dropped a meaty 9.5 on Doom the Dark Ages.
Ooh,
I
boy.
approached my critique from the perspective of what is this game trying to do and does it achieve it? And I say, you know what? Yes. My only real point of criticism was just simply leveraged against the fact that the creative forces behind Doom the Dark Ages might have actually slid a little bit too far into the past when it came to considering what this game should be, because they have delivered a 17-hour storyline-driven experience, and that's it. Like, the game doesn't have any, and I mean, sometimes it can feel a bit forced. It doesn't have any true replayability within it beyond playing the game again on a harder difficulty, which is cool because, it's more fun. And secret hunting, which secret hunting in the game, super cool, very sick. Developers at id Software, you guys are diabolical with how you hide some of your secrets. But like, I finished the game and most of my chapters were already like 80% complete as far as collectibles went. Mm-hmm. If I had finished the game and seen that everything was already at 100%, I reckon I would have been gutted. I would have been like, no, I don't have a reason to go back, but I can. I will note, just in case you are thinking of picking up Doom, a very cool thing within the game that I appreciate and think is awesome. If you go back and replay a chapter, the game sort of has a living New Game Plus system where if you go back and play a previous chapter, you just take all the upgrades that you've got so far back with you. So
nice.
If you only found 10% of secrets in level 1, jump back into it after level 20 and just monster mash stuff. It's great.
Sick.
Love that. And for those who are wanting to pick it up, May 15th across all platforms that isn't the Switch, I guess. And it's on Game Pass as well.
Any massive modern platform. Coming to Game Pass day 1.
Fucking wild.
Hell yeah.
So give it a crack. Speaking of Switch, what a lovely little segue. Kieron for Bruges, you have...
Hello.
I heard you just frisbeed your current Switch because you said, I don't need this piece of shit anymore. Because you've gone hands-on with the Switch 2 at the little event that they've been putting on.
The Toy Story meme of, I don't want to play with you anymore.
That's absolutely what I was thinking of, 100%.
100%.
I want to know from you, before we get diving into it, obviously you had hands-on time with it. I want to know how long you had. If you played any games, I want to know what games you played, and then get into the meat of it. Give it to us.
Yeah, sick. I had... So, for context, Nintendo has their Switch 2 experience going on in Melbourne this weekend.
He didn't sneak into some kind of place he wasn't supposed to be.
I didn't.
So
the general public entered a lottery, and a very small portion of them are going to go and get hands on with the Switch 2 this weekend. But yesterday, we got access to, I guess, like a VIP pre-event, where they sort of took us into the same area that everyone's going to go into, let us just go hog wild on all the demos.
VIP being very important press.
Yeah, basically. So it wasn't like a traditional, like, hands-on, like, media preview event. It was kind of just like this is where we're going to take the public. This is all the demos, like, go nuts kind of thing. It was interesting. But I was there for about 4 hours.
Wow.
And I was saying to Ash, disappointingly, I didn't realize until we'd already gone in that the only opportunity to see the actual retail final consumer Switch was before we went in the waiting lobby. They had like a couple little pedestals with a couple, like, nothing was happening on the screen. They were like just dead units, but they were like the finished retail units.
And they were the ones you were allowed to fiddle and touch
play with and like photograph and like pop the controllers in and out and all that.
Oh man.
So yeah, I did mess with it a little bit, but I didn't take any photos because I was like, I'll get plenty in there.
How is the magnetic snap? Tell me. Is it meaty? Is it good?
It's very good. So there is still a little bit of like wiggle if you're trying, like you would think. Nowhere near as much as obviously the current on rails Joy-Cons.
Really?
But just the action of snapping these things in and out is so satisfying. Like, I'm gonna be sitting there playing stuff and just doing it.
Oh yeah, that's gonna become just a really expensive fidget toy for me. Yeah. I can see it already.
Absolutely. The unit itself also is just very well designed because it's the exact same thinness as the current Switch. It's just got like a little bit more. Yeah, it's just got a little bit more vertical and horizontal space. It's not a huge difference if you've got the OLED Switch. It's not like massively bigger, but it's the same thickness. So
wow.
The weight distribution is really nice. It feels really good. And because the Joy-Cons are that little bit more secure, it does, like, holding it just does feel so much better than the current Switch. So, yeah, my first experience of just messing with the retail hardware before going in was pretty positive. But then when we went in, essentially we just had free reign to go and try out all the different demos. So they had Mario Kart World. They had that set up in a few different configurations. So I played it in 2-player split screen. I played it in handheld, and I played the I can't remember the name of it now, but the elimination mode, like the 24-player, knockout kind of sprint thing, which was very, very cool. I got to check out Donkey Kong Bonanza, obviously.
Yes. I mean, that's the system seller for me.
Absolutely. I got to play a little bit of the Welcome Tour. The $15
experience
should have been a.
Did you finish it within your 4 hours and go, no, I don't need to buy it?
No. And some of the updated first-party games, like the new Zeldas,
cool.
Kirby, Mario Party, all that kind of stuff.
So what,
Drag
Kirby
X
in the
Drive.
Forgotten World?
Kirby in the Forgotten World, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Starcross Worlds is the full title.
Jesus Christ.
That's a mouthful. Easy
yeah.
for Kirby.
Dragon Drive, the like Joy-Con controlled wheelchair basketball game.
Oh yeah.
I got to check out a bunch of third-party stuff. So they had like Split Fiction there. They had Yakuza 0. They had Cyberpunk there.
Oh really? So did you get to play Cyberpunk, or did you just see it?
Yeah, I did.
And how does it look?
I'll get to all that in a second.
Groovy.
Hold your horses, Ash. I'm just listing things right now. And there was one more. Oh, Metroid Prime.
Oh, cool.
Hey.
Did they have the From Software title that was there, Bloodborne 2?
No.
Electric Boogaloo?
No, unfortunately
No.
not. So yeah, that was kind of the full 4 hours. It's just milling about, trying all of those things. All of them were like 15 or 20 minute demos roughly.
Yeah.
But there was a lot there.
So,
Awesome.
First question, first cab off the rank. Obviously,
Sure.
It's, I don't know, arguably the first Nintendo console in a very long time, at least, where they're putting actual importance on the fidelity and the power that the console has. Typically, Nintendo are just kind of all about the player experience rather than the grunt that the console has.
We don't need individual follicles if people are having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. And saying instead of using gigabytes, they use fucking slots or whatever the fuck their convention is for that.
I remember that, yeah.
But how noticeable is it? Like, obviously, as someone who's spent a lot of the time with the Switch and the Switch OLED, what kind of jump can we expect?
It's significant. It's more significant than I was expecting.
Excellent.
Games like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong, fidelity wise, like, they look incredible. Just super crisp. Like, we were playing it like 5 inches away from these like Samsung TVs, because that's the demo experience that you always get.
Yep.
And these games were looking crisp. It's not like the 540 to 720p days of the original Switch.
Hell yeah.
There's some good stuff going on there. Even like the updated games like the Zeldas and Kirby and stuff, like without having a direct comparison, it's already like so easy to tell that these are looking schmick.
Did they have anywhere set up that you could see like the old Switch and the new Switch running the same game side by side?
Unfortunately not.
Damn, that would have been cool.
Yeah. To go back to Ash's question about Cyberpunk, it looks surprisingly good. I didn't spend too much time with it because it was getting towards the end of the day, but I was like, I've got to go look at Cyberpunk because I've seen the Digital Foundry videos, I've read the previews, but I need to see it. I need to look at it and know that it's real and press the buttons and watch it happen on screen. Obviously it's 30 FPS, but it's super, super solid. And the level of detail on display, like the lighting and stuff, like the visuals are cranked up considerably. Like it definitely looks better than what it was on the base consoles when it came out, which is a feat, I think, for a console this big.
Wow. Maybe Doom the Dark Ages will come to Switch 2.
I wouldn't be so... maybe.
Can we get ID Tech 8 on it?
It's not the platform I would play that game on because I have options. But like the fact that it exists and works the way it does is very, very impressive. Ash.
So you got to play the wicked wheelchair basketball game, which name I forget constantly. But
Drag and Drive?
Drag
X Drive? Something along those lines.
Does that mean you got to play with the Joy-Cons in mouse mode?
Yes.
How'd they go?
Very cool. So in Drag and Drive, it took a little bit to get used to. They're maybe a little bit like sensitive, I guess. It's one of those games where like, you know, when you first pick up a Wiimote or you first put on a VR headset, there's that adjustment period where your body's like, this isn't happening the way I'm expecting. And then a few minutes in, you're like, oh, okay, no, this makes sense now. Bit of that experience with it. Because it's a game, the game itself is different. Like you know, it's a wheelchair sports game, which is very cool. But then you've also got this other control method on top of that. But it was a lot of fun. I'm terrible at it, but it was a lot of fun. The big moment for me with the mouse controls is Metroid. Because they had that set up with giant mouse pads on the desks, which great move on their part. And so you could play the demo with traditional Joy-Con controls, or you could play it with the mouse controls, which is seamless. You literally just like turn the Joy-Con towards the desk and you're moving.
Wow.
Hold on. So there's not like you jump into a setting and change. You just fuck off. That is genuinely surprising and very cool.
Are we gonna see a new era of wicked first-person shooter games? Because on Switch,
bring
you
back
can actually
Red Steel or whatever it was called, the sword game on the Wii. But yeah, no. So like, obviously, I did that straight away when I sat down to start the demo. I was like, I'm gonna try. Obviously, we're gonna try the mouse mode. Played for a little bit, and then the person at the attendant at the desk that I was playing at was like, oh, it's seamless. So if you just like, you know, if you want to play with like your standard controls, you just like turn it up and you just play. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I'm never going to do that because this fucking rocks. And like just kept playing in mouse mode.
Thanks.
Thank you, person.
Don't care.
Fuck off.
Yeah, no, it's just like it's so responsive. It just feels like you're playing a PC version of
Wow.
Metroid Prime.
That is wild.
My only gripe is that you have to use the face buttons because it's Metroid. So you want like the morph ball mode, you want lock on, you want all that kind of stuff.
Developing a
So-
new kind of claw grip.
Yeah, it's like this little like this for the folks watching visually, it's like that. For the people listening, I don't know what I'm doing. Like holding a very small penis.
Jesus Christ.
Piss, vinegar, pegging, and a small penis.
So yeah, so like that grip takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's the only way I'm going to play that game.
Did we think
You're laughing and you have your hand up, and I'm worried.
we've moved past the penis, but do we think we're going to see a new sort of third party market for like a unique Joy-Con that's shaped more like a controller?
I 100%.
And
I
the
can see,
control
like
mats that
mouse
people can
inserts
sit on
for-
their lap, like.
I said that at the thing. I was like, Hori's going to do like a lap pad.
Guaranteed.
Like, you know, like
Absolutely.
the TV dinner trays that your nan has with like the soft beans on
Yep.
the bottom, and you sit.
Yep.
It's gonna be like that. Like that's gonna be. I'm
Yeah.
not even mocking
Funnily-
it. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna get one with like a cool design on and everything. It'll be great.
Funnily enough, like it probably wouldn't work for Metroid, but a lot of the feedback from other folks who played Dragon Drive was that doing it on your legs was better than doing it on the table for that specific game, just because of the position.
And that worked.
And it works really well.
It would probably be closer to being like. Yeah, they're gonna sell like a third-party aftermarket wheelchair accessory, so that way you can actually do it properly.
Jesus Christ.
God.
I don't know why I'm surprised, because this is such a Nintendo thing of, like, and I mean, the Switch to and the Wii before it, I guess, these gimmicky consoles had the naysayers that were like, no, it looks stupid, no one would ever want to do that, and then it comes out and they're like, holy fuck, it's genuinely so cool.
Actually, it slaps.
God damn.
That's like I'm still kind of working on like my write up. But that's kind of the gist of of the angle of it, because you know, we've spent years now at this point talking about what the Switch 2 is going to be, you know, leaked specs and rumors and expectations and all this stuff. But then like you get it, you pick it up and you try the new features, and suddenly like those years of discourse don't matter anymore, because you're like, oh, it's Nintendo. This is the Nintendo magic. Like every decision that's been made up to this point, like was made because of this. Like this is what it is.
Like all those people, they're like their entire discourse was like, it's just a bigger Switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the people
But-
that when like there was those patents going around that it might have a mouse-like feature, people were like, no. And here we are. It works.
Yeah.
exceptionally cool.
So very, very cool. Joy-Cons themselves, slightly bigger, feel really good. That's
Yep.
also good.
I mean,
The screen-
that's great.
The screen not being an OLED doesn't matter because it looks great.
Yeah.
I feel like LCD
Yeah.
screens have come a long way since the original Switch anyway, so...
Technology
Absolutely.
develops, so like people
Yeah.
just go, "Oh, it's still LCD." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's 2025 LCD." So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's the funny thing is when I played Welcome Park, whatever it's called, Welcome Tour. There's a mini game in that, because I was playing that in handheld mode. There's a mini game in that where it's like it asks you to guess the frame rate of like objects on the screen. So you have like a ball bounce across, and then you have like another one, and it's like which one was 20 FPS, which one was 120 FPS, and you like got to tell it which one was which.
That's so cool. I wish I didn't have to pay $15 to do that.
Yes, that is that as well. But it also ends up just being this weird like self-tell where when it's like, what's the difference between 60 and 120, and you get it wrong.
it's such
When
a
120
dunk on
FPS is like
people,
one of
yeah.
the selling points of the console. And they're like,
like-
yeah, but can you see the difference? And you're like,
It's
no.
like- It's like,
No,
hey,
Nintendo, I
nerd!
can't.
All these developers at Nintendo are just laughing, going, they can't even fucking tell. We told them it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
So I thought that was funny.
Oh, that's amazing.
The two games I'm dying to know, even if it's just like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Honestly, at this point, I just need to know if they've got the sauce. it's Donkey Kong and it's Mario Kart. So give us a little rundown. I know
we were going to get there.
I know that you made a beeline for those two. So tell us more.
Donkey Kong is very, very good. It's Again, it was a short demo. It was like 20 minutes. I played 2 levels, or 1 and a bit levels maybe.
Yep.
But it just feels so good to play. Like the controls, the way Donkey Kong moves, like the way he just climbs over everything, the way he just picks up shit and throws it and smashes everything, like.
Not literally. We get his single filler. Not literally picking up shit and throwing it.
I don't know. You don't know yet. You don't know yet.
The way you pause and we're like, oh god.
Ignoring like the level design and the things around it, just the pure like movement and like the gameplay, just incredible. I actually like said to the attendant watching the booth, I was like, look, you're going to see that it's telling me where to go and what to do, and it's going to look like I don't see that. I do. I'm just going to smash everything in this room right now. I just proceeded to like wail on all the rocks everywhere.
That's the whole reason I wasn't at the event, is because I led with, can I go, and if I get to play Donkey Kong Bonanza, I might bite people if they try to take me off the station, because that's all I want.
Blacklisted.
But and then like the level design is really cool. It's got a very Odyssey vibe, a very Mario Odyssey vibe, where you've got your main objective, but then like if you got to dig for those secrets, you find like a particularly shiny banana, and it gives you like the little title of what that objective was, like big banana in the mountain, and you're like, yeah, I did it.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's such a Nintendo thing, but God, it's good.
It's so good.
It gives you that little endorphin hit, doesn't it? It's like the moons in Odyssey were just like every time you found one, you're just like, yes, I'm a success.
And the number of times you just be like, I wonder if, and it's you're like, there's a fountain here. I wonder what happens if I jump on all of the water spouts. There's a thing. Thank you. It's just like curiosity rewarded. Thank you.
100%. And curiosity in this game is like, how far can I smash through the ground? Through the unassuming dirt.
Amazing.
So
the monkey
very, very
struck
cool.
the earth.
That's gonna be a day one buy for sure. I think it's kind of smart after having played that and Mario Kart. I think it is kind of smart that game is coming out just over a month later.
Yep.
Because that's like a second wave. Like that's people are gonna pick up Switches again. Like
yeah.
The sizzle period.
Absolutely. Mario Kart World. It's Mario Kart. It's very good.
Yep.
It was a bit of a, like, the stages that they picked, like, curated for the demos definitely feel more like Mario Kart 8 stages. There wasn't, like, a huge amount of the, like, grinding and wall jumping and that kind of thing. I only got, sort of a little bit of taste of that, but I did get a good feel for some of the track design and the way that works in, like, the open world. We didn't really get to drive around the open world stuff, but for example, the Boo track, like the haunted cinema kind of track, I was driving that, and somewhere halfway through the second lap, suddenly I was in the jungle for a few turns, because that's like in world next to that area.
That's
so like
cool.
the track kind of veers into the other area for just a little bit, just enough to make you go, hang on, like, did I fall asleep for a race? Am I like... So that was really cool, and something I sort of didn't think about in all the marketing, like that would start to happen. So that was a nice little surprise. The highlight was definitely the elimination mode.
Oh, yes.
Just the, like, intensity. There were people there, because they had that set up sort of separately, and they even had, like, an announcer, like, calling all the races and, like, commentating. Obviously, that's not an experience everyone's going to have in their lounge room, but it was very, very cool and unique for the day. And just, like, seeing people go, oh, yeah, I'll try Mario Kart, and then within seconds, like, just lock in and be like, I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, just the competitiveness that it brings out is, like, on another level. And I can see people really, really getting into this, like, long-term, like, online, potentially esports style. Like, it's just that.
pretty sure that the first verbal assault I ever received for some kind of multiplayer game was from Mario Kart 64.
Probably. Yeah, it was very cool. I came 5th.
Respectable.
I just got knocked out of the last group of races at the last second by a blue shell from someone playing cow. So I now hate cow.
Fuck cows.
Yeah.
Blue shell, cow, blue milk, blue heaven.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa.
Don't summon
Whoa.
him.
Whoa. But the new power-ups are good too. The feather power-up, which lets you do like a big jump, you can use that to dodge the blue shell, which is great.
That was in the original Mario Kart, wasn't it? Like that's a throwback, yeah?
I feel like that's a throwback.
Well, the Super
you might
Nintendo
know
one?
more than me, but yeah. Yeah, that was cool. There's like the coin shell that like shoots the shell out in front of you, but then it drops coins as it's going. There's like the hammers that like throw hammers out in a line in front of you, and they kind of stick around for a split second so people can like run over them.
Cool.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff. Yeah, I didn't get to see the open world, but so that's kind of the one question still, but very, very keen. It's going to be a must-have. Like, I don't know anyone who's pre-ordered a Switch without it, but it's going to be like...
We're probably going to be seeing like another half decade of Christmas Switch 2 deals where the Mario Kart game is bundled in. There's a reason
Very
everyone
much
has
so.
it is because it's excellent.
Yeah, so, yeah. That's...
Awesome.
I feel like that's a pretty decent rundown of what went down yesterday. I'm not cancelling my Switch 2 pre-order after that.
I mean,
Good.
if you were a YouTuber and you wanted a really good clickbait title, I cancelled my Switch 2 pre-order after using one. Bam. Was there anything that you didn't feel positive about? Like, was there anything that you sort of went,
Not really, to be honest with you. Like, again, I there's so many questions still. Like, there's so much about the actual system itself and, you know, the operating system and some of those inner workings that are obviously still a mystery. But everything else, like, aside from the weird little sort of this,
the claw grip?
The dick grip.
Yeah, the chode grip. Everything else was like, everything else was pretty positive. Yeah.
I was already
yeah.
keen. Now
Yeah.
here I am.
It was a very controlled like demo experience.
Sure,
It wasn't
yeah.
like just.
They
It wasn't
didn't-
just pick the thing up and like dissect it.
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't
it
let you
was-
like take a unit and just run its battery dead to see exactly how long it took.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
That'll come with time.
Yeah. But first impression's very good.
Rad.
Outstanding. I mean, I'm still very much buying one. Ash, I can't imagine hearing all of the positivity will have you rushing to cancel your order either.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go make that YouTube video and get all the clicks.
Love it. Bottom feeders. Absolute bottom feeders. Well, a very positive podcast this week. We're all very happy with the things we've been playing. Before we move on to, I don't know, something else I'm guessing we're all pretty positive on. A couple of shout-outs. Jimothy himself, James, has done is it a preview or a review for...
I
No,
think it was a preview.
Preview,
I thought it was
for-
a review, but it's not.
Yeah, I think the lack of score probably should have told me that anyway. Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Remaster. He says, it all coalesces to make for a compelling look back at a cult classic. Gorgeously remastered for modern hardware and audiences fanging for more of Capcom's unique juice. Which I think that was just a conversation he was having with Zach, potentially, and they just recorded it, so...
It's got a lot of Zachisms in it, doesn't it?
It very much
Juice,
does, yeah.
fanging.
Rubs off on you eventually. You should get that looked at. That's coming
juice.
May 23rd to everything, including Switch, from what I'm aware, so that makes sense. Our good friend Mark has reviewed Tempopo, saying, Tempopo stands as a puzzle game full of heart and joyful melodies, easy or hard enough for any kind of player. Its satisfying gameplay loops and adorable designs help it shine, but hopefully there's even more content in the future. Big fat 9 out of 10 for that one. Continuing positivity for this podcast. You love to see it. And last but not least, a game that I only kind of heard about very recently. Josephina was playing Despelote. She's saying it is a nostalgic first-person exploration of a childhood, time, and play. This short story is emotionally gripping, while the playstyle of kicking soccer balls and listening to conversations is relaxed and contemplative. Jesus, I knew I was going to get caught up on that. Despelote will capture the hearts of many in similar ways to how soccer did for people and communities of
Quito.
Yeah, let's go with that. In the early 2000s. An artful experience that made me feel sad, hopeful, and achingly human. That last line is an absolute humdinger. Holy shit.
That's got the sauce.
Doesn't it? And apparently the game does too. I'm assuming it's exactly the same as Doom the Dark Ages because she also gave it a 9.5 out of 10. So I'm guessing similar experiences, I guess. That's how that works. But
big 9.5. But just quickly, some of the things I heard about Despelote that I really like is that other people commenting on it were saying it has this unique magic where you can sort of experience your own childhood memories by looking at the childhood memories of others. That's what people were saying. That people saying that, like,
awesome.
I didn't grow up in a remote neighborhood kicking around soccer balls, but I can relate to this so much based on my own childhood. And that must be some magic.
It's like it elicits a feeling more than a direct memory.
Yeah. It's
in the way it's
stuff.
presented, especially.
Yeah.
Because it is like a first person game, and there is like because I've played it. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but like the very first sequence is you playing like a soccer game on a little console on a little TV. And as you're playing, like little dialogue boxes from your parents like start popping up in the side, and then like it slowly pans away from the screen, and they're like talking like over you trying to play the game, and then they like come in and they turn it off because they want to watch something, like while you're still like trying to like score goals and stuff, and like just that like just the feeling of like I want to score a goal, and then someone comes and just like turns it off. You're like,
yeah.
Fuck. Like that's universal, I feel.
Yeah. We've
For
all
most
been
people.
there.
We've all been there. So like it's like that. That's a very specific scene where the dialogue is very specific to that scene and what's happening is very specific, but the sort of context is so universal. And the whole game's like that. It's so great.
Yeah.
It also
Conjuring
just
some
doesn't
real human magic.
It looks completely different to anything else I've ever seen in a video game, which is, I mean,
I love
rare these days. Yeah, very cool. We've got some rather large headlines. This will be kind of both the discussion topic portion of the podcast as well as kind of mixed in with the news. But we'll start with the big one. Rockstar came out and said, yeah, look, you were all right. It's not coming out this year. GTA 6, that is. It's going to come out May 26th next year, which is over a year away. That's a bit insane, but not awfully surprising. But they then followed that up with, but don't worry, here is the second trailer for the game.
Yeah.
And has set the internet completely fucking on fire in doing so.
It was like they had an apology ready. It's like, yeah, you got to wait another 12 months, but check this out. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, wild.
We get it.
And like, just as a surface level, the first trailer was very much like hey, it's set in Vice City. It's kind of some vague allusions to what you might expect. The second trailer, it follows the Rockstar formula. They did this with GTA 5. They did it a bit with Red Dead 2. This is more of a meaty trailer of, here are your protagonists. Here is a few of the supporting cast members. A bit of the environment. It kind of alludes to gameplay. The trailer is a mix of gameplay and cinematics, but it's all in-engine on a base PS5.
On a base PlayStation 5.
Which, please pause this, go and watch the trailer, come back. I think is probably the best way to do this, because we want to discuss it a little bit. But just kind of knee-jerk reactions. Ash, I feel like we've discussed it quite a bit, but tell the people, what are your thoughts on it?
It's a flex trailer. It is Rockstar reminding people why they get some of the accolades that they get. Like, you can joke about the fact that Grand Theft Auto 5 has been around longer than most people have been alive at this point, but like, when they make a game, they make a game. Yeah, absolutely bananas trailer. You're right, the first trailer was like a bit of an introduction. This one was the nitty-gritty. We're going to start digging into some stuff. It's still not the deep dive that everyone's looking for. There's no uninterrupted gameplay section, but it's like, bam, look at this shit. Bam, you'll probably get to do this. Bam, you'll meet this person. Bam, you'll do this thing. And it's absurdly good looking. Like,
Yep.
you and I have we actually put out an article yesterday, but it'll probably be a week ago by the time you hear this podcast, where we actually broke down some of the more involved details. But, like, this is the thing. The whole trailer is, like, every frame you can pause and there's something on screen that just makes you go, oh, wow.
Yep.
And that's rare in the modern gaming sphere when every game already looks incredible. So, yeah, the Rockstar secret sauce is oozing from every second of this trailer.
Yeah,
Including
absolutely.
a shirtless Jason.
Yeah, goddamn. What a way to open a trailer. Speaking of KV, what were your thoughts of the GTA 6 trailer, the second one that we got?
I'll admit, I've only watched it once, and that was on my phone at work.
Like
so
a gentleman.
On the toilet.
I did have a quick glance at your boys write-up, and I was like, oh, shit, like, you're right, there is some secret sauce in this. They have spent all of their years and money on beer physics, and it's going to pay off in big ways. Yeah, like just the fact that it's running on a base PS5,
That is such a-
continually blows my mind.
It's
Like,
such a
obviously,
flex.
yeah, obviously a lot of that trailer is going to be cutscenes. It'll be when we see like live gameplay. I imagine it's going to be a little bit of a different story, but like, yeah. You're right, Ash. It is just 100% a flex. Because if they wanted to show it on a PS5 Pro or a PC, they could.
They could have put it on like a NASA supercomputer and then be like, yeah, like, but you know, that's gaming marketing bullshot, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lead with the very best version of your product to just sort of pull
Sure.
the wool over people's eyes. But there's people with a dusty thing sitting in their entertainment unit that can drive this at this level.
Yeah.
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 It's wild.
Wild.
I think more than anything, I'm just keen to inhabit their version of Florida and Miami. Because GTA 5 obviously set on the other coast. It's all Californian. And I've spent a decent amount of time in that area, like real life area. And it's scarily accurate. Like genuinely it is.
It really is.
For those who haven't ventured to that part of the world, you get a pretty good sense of what it's like if you play GTA 5. So I'm keen for them to do that with Florida, because that is a really wild part of not just the country, but of the world. It's a really odd slice of reality. So yeah, it looks like they're capturing that very well. So yeah, this trailer's impressive, and I'm keen to see more. Ash Whaling.
The one thing I want to mention beyond just the graphic fidelity of it all, the thing that I'm quite curious about, and I've seen a lot of other people jump on as well, is that the game seems to be leaning into the fact that you, as the players, like, you know, between Lucia and Jason, it looks like a hefty portion of the game is going to be based around the fact that you are in a very adult modern relationship.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. That's kind of rare nowadays, like, for games. Like, either they shy away from it, or, you know, they twist it in a big way where it's like, you know, the relationship's toxic, or it's ending, or just beginning. But, like, it looks like in this game, like, no, you guys are quite established as a couple, and I think that's going to be fun to explore in the story. I mean, it's a Grand Theft Auto story, so it's just going to be a vehicle for shooting and robbing and stuff, but I find that character moments in Grand Theft Auto games, they have some reasons to shine, and this looks is going to be like a really cool thing to explore.
Absolutely.
Yep. Very, very keen to see what they haven't shown us in the brief couple trailers, because I mean, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, but it's just scratching the surface, I imagine.
We still haven't had the gameplay deep dive.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to seeing more. Tell you what I'm looking forward to seeing more of, and something that a few outlets got to see a lot of. Death Stranding 2. Holy shit. I was out and about. I think I was at the gym when the embargo dropped for all of the Death Stranding 2 coverage, all the previews.
There was a lot.
Holy shit, I dropped what I was doing and locked
The
in.
weights.
Yeah, straight. Like, I was spotting Key, and she's still under a bench press, I think, right now.
But she understands.
Yeah, she does. She gets it. For context, I didn't super deep dive anything in fear of spoilers, not just of story spoilers. I don't want to see shit from this game. Like, I don't want to see landscapes, any of that sort of business. But the landscape is kind of the biggest talking point for us, at least, because the game is set in Australia, which is a wild revelation if you don't take into account the whole quokka of everything.
The majority of the game is based in Australia.
I think like the vast majority, because from what previews were saying, the story set up very light spoilers for those who don't want anything. But you start off the game in Mexico, something happens, and you end up in Australia, as happens when you go out and about in Mexico, I guess. I don't know. I've never been to Mexico, but, you know. But yeah, apparently the vast majority of the game is set here in the old land down under. There's kangaroos, there's quokkas, there's all sorts of other random animals that can kill you, no doubt. And that's... Yeah, I think if you were paying attention to the trailers beforehand, there's hints of that, including, you know, renowned directors that are Australian that are just also in the game. So that's probably a big hint. But pretty fucking cool. Like, that's pretty awesome. And the game looks just phenomenal as well.
Oh.
Like, the fact that Kojima... in Kojima Productions, their preview event was 4 days long and gave access to 30 hours of the game is the biggest, like, whip out your dick on the table move I've ever heard of. That is wild. Wild confidence.
And the impressions people are giving is that was still barely scratching the surface.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Unreal.
I can't wait to see, like, giant kangaroo BTs.
BT kangaroos.
Truly.
Like,
Truly.
That's what
Great white sharks.
Yeah.
The game looks unbelievable. There is also, in, you know, lesser news, there is a limited edition controller that you can purchase. It's shit.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, it's not great. You're like, nah, shit. I'm like,
nah, it sucks.
I mean,
like, compared to the DualSense, the DualShock 4 version was like, it had the same color as the BB, and it had like the little BB on the side. Very cool. This one is muted and just safe.
Just some stickers on a standard black controller.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't have the sauce.
Essentially.
Yeah.
When you think of the visual aesthetic of like the established Death Stranding look of things, you posted it in our Slack and the image didn't come through. So all I saw was the headline of, you know, Hideo Kojima announces official Death Stranding 2 DualSense. I was salivating. Like, I was like, oh, I gotta see this. And I clicked it, and it was like the sad trombone played in my head. It was like, wah, wah. I was like, oh, it's definitely a black controller with some yellow bits. I mean, if you don't have a black controller, this could be the one for you. But, like, I was expecting, you know,
like Higgs red,
yellow
like,
transparent
armor.
plastic. Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Fuck's
Just
sake.
have it shaped like the guitar gun that he has or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'd prefer there to not be a controller rather than like an average controller, because then like I'm not thinking of what I could have had, you know.
I want this so little. I wish it didn't exist.
Yeah, right. Like, it's a dickhead thing to say, but anyway, I couldn't give a shit. The game looks phenomenal, and that's really all I care about. And the collector's edition was pretty cool with Magellan Man, so I'll spend all my money there anyway. But we've got a couple other headlines. These ones we can probably jump through pretty quickly. There's a new PlayStation Studios. A new PlayStation Studios studio. They're called Team LFG, which apparently doesn't stand for Let's Fucking Go. I disagree. It apparently stands for Looking for Group, which no, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
This is a breakaway team from Bungie, who are apparently working on an ambitious incubation project. So ambitious and decent looking enough where they thought it necessary to break them off into their own team and not just have an internal team at Bungie. Hello, Ash Whaling.
Is it an extraction shooter?
Mate, let me tell you what it is. So, this is the breakdown from the team themselves. They say, hang on, I want to make sure I'm getting their exact words because it's important. Our first game is a team-based action game that draws inspiration from fighting games, platformers, MOBAs, life sims, and frog-type games. Players will inhabit a light-hearted comedic world set in none of the rest of that shit matters. Frog-type game, what the fuck does that mean?
Do you have any frog-type game fans here that could break it down?
Frogger is a frog-type game.
Is it is it the original frog type? Is there another one?
Is Frog Detective?
Yeah, that's a frog type game.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like vaguely Smash Brothers crossed with Dota or something like that. It sounds kind of like Crash Team Rumble, to be perfectly honest, which I'm fine, thank you. But I mean, we'll wait and see, I guess. But fuck, what a headline of they're breaking off from Bungie to work on a frog type game. Just sure. Like, I don't know. It's got my attention purely just based on how ridiculous that statement is.
Yeah,
So.
that's how you capture people. Here's a concept that you have no idea what we mean. Watch the space.
Whatever
bizarre.
frog type is, like, given that they cancelled The Last of Us Online, given that they completely canned Concord, whatever frog type is must be fucking special.
Right.
For them to go, you know what? Let's go back. Let's do another live service game. This is the one, guys. This is the one.
That is a very,
Live
very
service
solid
frog
point.
game.
I'll tell you what isn't a frog game is Mafia the Old Country.
I don't know that.
Well, as far as we know, they could do a rug pull and maybe it is a secret frog type game.
The Frog Father.
But developer Hangar 13 has flicked out a gameplay trailer and has confirmed that it will be coming out on August 8th. We already knew that thanks to a little Steam leak, but hey, we won't worry about that too much. But fuck me, it looks good. It looks really good, in fact. And it looks like it's a smaller experience and is a bit more linear than the previous games, which sign me the fuck up. I actually think
that's a big tick.
Great move.
I haven't played the recent Mafia games, but I have universally seen that when it goes open world, it sucks. And it's like, huh.
Yeah,
It
like if you're playing as a criminal with guns and cars, that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be an open world sandbox. I think is kind of the underlying thing. And it's also not a full price game. It's $90 instead of 120 or whatever the fuck we're selling games for now. So yeah, I think all of those touch points are positives.
Yep.
Sounds like a slam to me. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's looking good. I went from vaguely thinking that it looked okay to fuck yeah, I'll give it a crack. Things that I sure will do well as well. Gears of War Reloaded is the original game remastered, and it's coming out on PS5, which still is wild. August 26th.
I mean, show of hands here. Who here is a Gears of War fan?
I was.
Did you have a turning point where you stopped liking it? Was it post 3?
When I'd stopped playing Xbox.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Which was I played. Yeah, I think Judgment was the last one I played.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like Gears of War. I've got a Lancer like up on my wall over there just because I like it. I really enjoyed them. I've always thought that, like, as a set of games, they kind of needed to jump off that platform because it's kind of hard to play them in an easy way nowadays. So, like, some of them can be Xbox One and other ones can't. But I always thought that the rumors was that there's, like, a Master Chief style collection coming with all of the games. And now they've announced that, no, Gears of War 1. Gears of War 1 will come out on these other platforms. Cool, go for it. Do you think they've pivoted to not do a collection?
I don't know if you can do a collection now. You can't do, like, here's the first game and the rest of them. And I don't think it's a strong enough series. I don't know. There are still a lot of people who really love the game. To do, like, remastered individual releases seems wild to me.
I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that it was an Xbox exclusive game that is now jumping to other platforms. Like, if you think, like, the corporate think tanks of how to make money, like, is there a whiteboard where they sort of said, can we get away with selling these individually because we're going to put them on other platforms now?
Yeah.
Because you've seen all my well-played pieces. I was constantly trying to get the scoop on when the collection was coming out because there was people talking about it that are reputable from like a rumor perspective. Like people who like when they say I heard this, you sort of go, he probably did. And there was like the Gears of War Master Chief style collection has been mentioned for like 3 or 4 years. And it's weird that it's like, no, it's just Gears of War 1, which we already re-released, which we already remastered. We're just going to remaster it and put it on everything. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a logistical reason for it. Because it does feel like a slam dunk to just be like, here it is.
Yeah. Gears of War 4 and 5 or whatever, and then they've got the new one coming out. I think, is that still being announced to come out sometime this year? I think that's...
D-Day?
I think it's meant to be this year.
I think D-Day is supposed to be coming out this year, but I think it's one of those games that was hibernating because it didn't know when Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to drop, so it was like, we're not going to say shit. So, I don't know. I'll take my tinfoil hat off, but that's just my thought. It's just interesting that they're going to re-release the game that was already re-released when they technically have a trilogy of interconnected stories that would make a great experience as a collection. It's just, I don't know. If you're a Microsoft insider, reach out to me via ash@idon'tknowwhatimdoing.com.
Love it. Tell you who do know what they're doing. Microsoft, and they do know that they're making money. There's been a decent little price hike for Xbox consoles, controllers, accessories, and all of that jazz. Despite, I think Microsoft had like a $70 billion quarter recently, which, I suppose they don't make...
Just quickly. That's post-acquisition of Activision Blizzard.
Shit. So it's just change they found laying around. Makes sense.
Kind of. It was sort of like, hey, look at all the revenue this stuff was already making. It's ours now. And it's like, I'm not an economic master, but like a lot of people, when they posted that figure, so many people who are economic people went, ha! Bullshit.
Fuck this company, honestly. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Long story short, $50 price hike for just about all the consoles. It's pushing the Galaxy Black 2TB Series X to over $1,000. It's now $1,049 AUD. It's just... Yeah,
it's more expensive than the PS5 equivalent, isn't it? And that just had a price increase as well.
Yeah. What is
this weird, this silly dimension, this clown dimension we live in where consoles increase in price throughout their lifespan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about pricing on these things as well in the tech world. Everyone talks about like the race to the bottom. Like who's going to get to like that sweet price point first. But we've got like a race to the top with these guys. They're going like neck and neck. Yeah, it's so strange. And like the Series S, like $599. You could almost like you basically get a digital PS5 on sale at that price.
Yeah.
Well, it did, so I don't know who they're going to sell these to.
It's weird because like at this point, like what the PS5 came out in 2020, right? And I mean that's the launching point of that sort of era, this current generation we're in. At this point, the people you're trying to attract to get on board with your digital ecosystem, they're the late adopters and they're the perennial fence sitters. Like these are the people who, maybe they're just starting to approach the idea of getting into gaming because all the people who like gaming, they've already got their thing of choice. They got it day one or, day 148 with scalpers. Like they're punishing the people who are still rubbing their chin. And I think a lot of those people just sort of going, nope. Like it's actually reached a point now where people are just going to go, I'm not going to buy the new console. I'm going to get it off Marketplace from somebody who's grown bored with their current one.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And it's especially odd for Microsoft, who don't really sell games in the traditional sense anymore. In boxes on shelves, they have Game Pass. And if you want to get people onto Game Pass, they need a device for it. Yeah. And if you keep making that device prohibitively expensive, they're not going to get onto your service.
Like we know that.
I mean, they have other avenues, but like that's one avenue that you're going like, nah.
Like we know that there's so many external factors that contribute towards these decisions being made, and like we're not in those boardrooms, but we also we understand at a base level, the console is the entry point into their financial ecosystem.
Yeah.
If the person doesn't have the console in their home, bam, they're off your radar. They are not a source of revenue. So making the entry point that much harder to get a hold of, it's like, ugh. Are the external factors that bad that they just have to do this? They can't eat a $50 loss and be like, it's fine, we'll get a Game Pass sub and then they'll become a recurring source of revenue. It's fine.
Very strange.
Wild. Hey, fuck it. Who needs money when you've got friends? And friends, we've wrapped up the content portion. We're firmly in the old off topics. Who's been doing things that aren't gaming related? Have we watched movies, read books, listened to music? Ash, what have you been dipping the beak into?
I recently picked up another Jason Schreier book. It's Blood, Sweat, and Pixels.
Yep.
I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm very interested in it because I've been thumbing through his Blizzard Play Nice game, story of Blizzard software. But Blood, Sweat, and Pixels was on special on Amazon. It's a very good... Like, I've just sort of read the dust jacket and started reading it, but all of the reviews say that it's a very good look at the sort of the secret side of game development. Like, you know, we're in that sphere where we're openly critiquing it. We've got a thumb on the pulse of a lot of it, but like this is how a lot of the decisions are actually made and how the people creating this magical media get impacted by even the things that we don't really take into account. So quite looking forward to that one.
Very
$14 on Amazon. Not bad for an actual physical book that
Might have
you
to pick
can
that up.
sniff.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
nice little book. Looking forward
I
to it.
listened to it like a fool.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I did enjoy it, and the Blizzard book was just a fucking roller coaster. I knew that company was interesting with its history, but holy smokes, yeah, there's a lot to digest there. So I would recommend both.
I had the crib notes of so much of Play Nice, but seeing the actual breakdown and internal like comments
Yeah.
from people who were affected by it, it's like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, it's nasty shit. Kieron for Bruges, what have you got for us, mate? What's your week looked like outside of gaming?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Just working, gaming.
The Switch,
That's
all the Switch
that's the
details
life.
have just pushed out everything else
Yeah.
that happened in the week.
Yeah. No, I honestly haven't consumed any media of note in since we last spoke.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint.
Don't you dare be sorry. Just your presence is good enough for us, mate. I only really watched one thing, much to Ash's dismay. I keep telling him that I'm going to watch Thunderbolts, and I fucking will. Get off my back. Key and I went to watch Sinners. And
Ooh.
slaps ass. Like, I mean,
Slap-
literally,
yeah.
it's a very horny film. But yeah, it's awesome. Really, really awesome. Loved it.
That's the review I need. Like a lot of people go, yeah, it's great, but you telling me it's a very horny film. It's like, okay. Yeah.
It's exceptionally
Fuck yeah.
horny, but it's also gorgeous. Like, its cinematography is top notch. It's got a cool. It's its take on what's happening. It's very, very cool. That's all I can really say. The marketing is pretty careful to not give away too much, and I don't want to do that either. But
I stayed away from the marketing. I remember we had that really quick chat where I pointed out that there was that interesting thing about how, like, apparently the screen release, like before the film gets made, there's like the concept or the pre-script or whatever. The bidding war for that was kind of ridiculous to the point where like a bunch of people are going, nah, we want to make it, and I was like, okay, is it that good? And apparently it was. Apparently, like the picture companies that had like the first treatment, that's what the story treatment, were like, nah, we need this, we got to have it.
yeah, the premise is exceptionally fucking cool, and it's realized.
It's Michael B. Jordan,
very
isn't
well.
it too?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the dude
He
just rocks.
does a. Yeah, I can't say too much because I didn't. If it's something that I didn't know going into the movie, then you should also not know.
I
Go
appreciate
see
you
it.
so much stopping mid-sentence. That shows great restraint. Where you're like, hey, never
Tricky.
mind.
Yeah,
Actually,
nah.
love that.
But it's a banger. It's a banger. But it didn't come out in the 2000s, did it? Came out in 2025.
Can't
movie
stop
that
this
did
man
come
from
out
his
in the
transitions. Have you
I
picked
have
one?
a little. I do. I did. Kieran, do you have one? If you do, it's
No, I
all
don't.
you. Nah, okay. All right.
Nah,
don't.
let's go all Adam this time.
I'm just
All right,
happy
here's
that
the-
you do.
Here's the synopsis. When a bank heist turns into a hostage situation, Detective Keith Fraser is forced to work with Madeline White, a power broker, to ensure the safety of the captives and a lucrative safe deposit box?
Oh, now you've said safe. Like, the whole time I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a bank hostage movie. But then you said safe deposit box, and it's like,
2006.
2006. Can we have an actor?
You can have Clive Owen. How does that tickle your pickle?
I'd love Clive Owen to tickle my pickle. I think that guy's underrated.
You can also have Denzel Washington if that helps.
Doesn't help me.
Does Clive Owen help you?
No.
That two first name having motherfucker.
Hey, I won't have that kind of slander here. We've got Jodie Foster as well.
Oh,
Even a bit of Willem Dafoe.
What is? I want to know what this film is now.
I want to watch it.
I'm out.
Ash, any
I got nothing.
baseball swings? It's directed by Spike Lee.
The problem is that you've mentioned Clive Owen, and I'm just thinking of the films that he's in, and I keep thinking Shoot 'em Up, but that definitely wasn't a bank heist
No.
gone wrong. Nah, I got nothing.
Spike
but
Jones, really?
Spike
Huh?
Jones. No, Spike Lee, not Spike Jones.
Spike Lee, right?
Oh,
Spike.
I misheard.
That would have been a very
I was
different
like,
film.
damn.
Would have been very different film.
It is Inside Man. I'm getting blank looks. Nothing. Okay. Inside Man
I
banks.
can picture the cover.
Yeah.
I can't
yeah.
say that I've seen it.
I'm looking it up.
I haven't seen it in a good many years, but I remember watching this for the first time probably around 2006 and it blowing my fucking mind.
Really?
Apparently
Wow.
it's on Netflix and has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It is good. It is a good film, and I would
Sounds
recommend.
good.
I don't think it will blow your mind like it did my 10-year-old self, I suppose, but it is worth watching.
I mean, I just like watching Willem Dafoe do anything, really.
Yeah.
Modern
Especially
Willem
not-
Dafoe is fucking outstanding because he's just
Ah.
only takes projects that he really loves and just hams it up. It's wonderful.
He shot a film in Tasmania.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
just like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. Like, why
That
not?
pub has 20-cent pool if you're ever in that part of
does it?
if you're in that part of the state.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow,
Perfect.
I have to now travel to said pub, which is 2.5 hours away. Luckily, it's nice and early in the day, like we've said. If you want to read any of our coverage, particularly Ash Whaling's Doom the Dark Ages review, Kieron will have some content on the Switch too, and all of the other wonderful stuff that we've mentioned. You can head over to
And-
well-played.com.au.
If you can't be bothered reading my review, I did a video for the people who like moving pictures.
If you want to do that, head over to wellplayed_au on the old YouTubes, and you can find it there. It's a wonderful, wonderful video. I gave it a watch this morning on the throne. Until next week.
I'm going to do exactly that.
Ah, yes, I make it for poo-poo viewing. Very good.
It's something about your voice that just gets the body moving. Anyway,
I timed the video so there's still time for wiping just to finish it up.
what a gentleman. Until next week, everyone, have a wonderful time. We'll see you then. Bye.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.